Hey folks, this is the last installment of the December bid. I'm going to show you how we relaxed. So this was my ideal bid group, my bid group 1. I have my areas 1, 2, 3, and 4 where I want to dump trips into. Now again, like I mentioned before, I'm probably not going to get this locked H4 Geneva, this locked H4 GRU, and 2 of these Honolulus. So I'm planning for the contingency that I don't get those. So then I start relaxing the bid. And in PBS 2.0, it is super easy. So the first thing I did was I added Rome before the 21st, or the 24th, excuse me. So now here's all these Rome trips. So now those are in H3. They'll go behind these other H4s that I really want in round 1. Then I add Zurich before the 24th. Now look at my trip pool again. Here's all the Zurichs in H2. Then I add 4-day Europes, right? So I'm going to add the 4-day Europes, going to put those in H1. Here's Madrid. Here's this Madrid through Newark with a deadhead home. Then I'm going to add Lisbon. And the way I'm doing these is, so I'm adding, for the 4-day trip, I did a combi bid. I added 4, I wanted trip length 4, trip type Europe, and aircraft type 763. That eliminated South America, although the Europe would have been fine to have done that. So for Lisbon, I just put it in neutral. And one of the things I love about PBS 2.0 is right here. When I did this put Lisbon, I can click right here. It says 4 trips matched, 4 trips added. If I click on it, look it, there I go. So I see I'm going to get neutral trips added, and these are the days. 2nd or 3rd, that's a Tuesday, Wednesday. Those are good days. And then here's 16, 17. Again, Tuesday, Wednesday. Those are good days. So those are the trips that it added when I did that. It's so easy in PBS 2.0 to see exactly what you did. So then I added 1 Sao Paulo. The way I did this one, I'll show you how I did this. I added Sao Paulo by limiting it to Wednesdays and Thursdays. So right here. So award GRU layovers, I wanted it only from the 30th until the 8th. So, and again, weekly, Thursday to Thursday, when you do that, you only got the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday departure. So again, very specific, these combo bids, I can target. So when I go to my trip pool, I can see that the GRUs I added are right here. So here, this is a Wednesday departure, my favorite. Same here, this is a Wednesday departure. So a very specific way, actually that was the Monday. Here's the other Wednesday departure here on the 17th. Very specific way of adding. Something else that's really neat about PBS 2.0, this add Honolulu on the 13th. That's in the middle of one of my bands. So how did I get that? All I did was I came up here to one of my trip bands, right? So it was in this band, says trips band 91. If I go to that, here comes this screen. If I find a trip on here that I want to override the band, it's so easy. All I've got to do is click on this band lock and I can hit what bucket I want to put it in. It's a piece of cake. So I could unban this Edinburgh trick and put it in L2 if I wanted to. A super easy way of dealing with, I just want that trip on this 13, 14, 15 weekend. I don't want the rest of these. I've banned those. Then I want to show you one last thing. I'm up to, my focus was to try and get flying in the first half of the month. If by this trip, if I look at my trip pool, so look at what I've got here. I've got this locked H4 4-day, and then look, I've got Zurich and Rome and another Zurich on the 2nd, another Rome on the 2nd, and I've got all these trips in this first week. Then we come to the 2nd week. Here's the 2nd week. I've got this locked Sao Paulo, but I've got a Zurich and a Rome. Now I've got this Honolulu that I added on the 13th. So it's easy to see what's been added, and I can start knowing from my seniority, what am I likely to get? So this is mostly focusing on 400s And in these 3 buckets, my first, second, and third week, which was a double, I was trying to get 2 trips in a row. Well, if by this time I haven't gotten any success, I'm going to need to add flying on the 27th. So far, the only trip I've got in my bid group on the 27th was that Honolulu trip down here, right? But if I want to add this, so now what I did was I added a bid here at the bottom. Sorry, it's on the 27th. Sorry, folks, I'll get to it. And I go to my trip pool. What I did was added Europe flying on the 27th H1. That's why I didn't find it. This thing does this odd thing of prioritizing. Here it is right here. So I said I want to add trip type Europe dated 27th through the 29th. And when I did this, and I go to my pool, here they all are at the bottom and they're all H1. Check this out. I can figure out exactly which ones I want first. So I'm going to say I want London 400 first. So I'm going to lock this. Sorry, I got to hit edit. Now if I go to the trip pool, go to the bottom. Now notice these unlock buttons. So now I can lock. So I'm going to lock London and I want that H4. Now remember, this is H4 only on that day. And obviously PBS couldn't give me a bid earlier in the month. It needs to seek out more flying here in this last block. So the first part of my bid was designed to have all my flying done by the 24th. If that's not working, I'm going to need to add more than just that London on the 27th. I need to add more flying here. So I'm going to start with locking London. If I don't get London, then I'm going to want Lisbon. I'll make that H3, save. If I don't get that, then I want Zurich. So I'm going to lock that. I'm going to make this H2, save. And then I'm going to want Rome. I'm going to make that also, tell you what, I'll make that also H2. Then I'll go to Geneva. I'm going to make Geneva H1, save that, right? And then I'm going to make this Dublin and Edinburgh. I can ban those. I'm going to ban that trip. And same thing with Edinburgh. I'm going to ban that trip. Save. So look at, I'll tell you what, and I need to make this, the Barcelona. I'll just leave those, tell you what, I'm going to unlock these. Barcelona, I'll make that neutral, save. And I'm going to make Amsterdam, I'm going to make that L1. So look at how cool that is. I needed to add flying on the 27th. I was not given an award by, this is a pretty late bid group for me. If I haven't gotten all my awards here, it meant there was some problem getting 2 trips in this one week. I figure I definitely got trips here, definitely got trips here in the second block. It's this third block off around Christmas I'm having trouble. So what I'm going to do is add Europe flying to just these 3 days, 27, 28, 29. Remember, I don't want carryout. And look at how elegantly PBS 2.0 handled the problem. I can now lock each trip, give each one its own specific priority. I can only get one of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trips. I can only get one of them. So obviously I didn't get this H3 Honolulu, right? Or I would have gotten it by now. Evidently this one's gone. Or what I could do is I could lock this one and make it H5 in this bid. Boom. That's probably a better way to do this. Now I'm still telling PBS, look, if this Honolulu is still around, I still want this one. But I'm now going to lock it from each successive bid group going, dude, if this one's available, just go ahead and give it to me. Because you're already looking at these. So just give me Honolulu first, then London, then what I have, then Lisbon, then the 400s are gone. Then I'll move on down through the 763s based on time. And I'm going to ban these 2 757 trips. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to my bid, right? and go to my current bid. And now I'm going to go ahead and submit that bid group. So now I'm at 13% of the trips. I'm going to do some more to relax, mostly on trip quality. I might add one of those Edinburghs or something like that. I don't think I'm going to get there. I really think here, I believe the bid group I'm probably going to get is bid group 9. I don't think I'm going to go much further than that. But again, I don't know. So I'm going to keep bidding until I know that I've got enough trips. But I'm never going to relax my day off bands. I'm going to keep doing this. I've designed my bands and I'm confident I can get what I need within them. I'm not going to fly anywhere past 10 o'clock in the morning on the 25th or 24th. I'm not going to fly the 25th or 26th. I'll start a trip as early as 6 in the morning, do that Honolulu on the 27th, but I'll do a 3-day here. But I remember my worst case scenario is Geneva here, one Geneva here, and Geneva here. I could even get, if I get a couple of Sao Paulos, I could even go down to something low time like a Lisbon or a London. So I know I'm in. So I hope that that was understandable. But one of the things I wanted to show you is this idea of designing blocked areas where you simply aren't going to help United. That's based on your seniority and your family needs. Then dumping trips in order, stratify them, add them slowly. So you're going to end up with a bid group where you're adding H3s alone. Submit that one. Adding H2s alone. Submitting that one. Adding H1s alone. Submitting that one. Don't do this nonsense of putting all of your H3, H4, H2 all together unless, like I was showing you, unless you're doing what I did on this bid group here, where when I focus on this bid group and go to this trip pool, where what I'm doing is I'm stratifying an area of my bid where I can only get one of them. Then I'm willing to go right down the stack and go, I'd rather have this one, followed by this one, followed by this one, followed by this one, followed by this one. Keep the comments coming. I'm probably going to redo this December bid in January and February to try and clean up some of the, make it a little bit more understandable. I think the comments and questions will help in some feedback from people that I've got watching my videos. But for now, I think that does a pretty good job of describing how do you create a really effective bid? How do you know when you need to touch Christmas? How do you handle a Christmas touch? And then ultimately, how can you really stratify your bid to get what you want? Best of luck bidding out there. I hope you have a very enjoyable holiday season.